Hi, my name is Susan Phillips, and I am the pastor of First Presbyterian Church in Shawano, Wisconsin, in the Great North Woods. I have had the honor of serving here as pastor for the past 16 years, and we have learned and grown together over that time. And some deeply faithful things happen, even though we often sense that we're a small church, because there are many larger churches in town. But we also think that the way that we connect in the 21st century means that we aren't limited to the community that gathers in this place. And so the session of First Presbyterian Church has decided that we are going to try to dream big and do something a little bit different. This new ministry is called Open Glen, and you can find us at openglen.com online. We have a vision for taking some of the things that are special about who we are and sharing them with the wider world, and we think that's what God calls us to do as disciples. So in our space, one of the things that we say to one another in worship every time we gather is that this is God's house and all God's people are welcome. And we mean it. We don't just mean those who look like us or think like us or who share our experiences, whatever those experiences might be, but we really do mean that all God's people are welcome. And when we meet one another across those differences, we learn and grow as children of God. And so we have learned and grown and changed over these last 16 years and are interested in sharing what we've learned and learning more from the rest of you. So some of the things that make us sort of interesting are the role of questions and considering and wondering and being willing to entertain possibilities that might not be so familiar. So people hear me say that church ought to be a safe place to ask any question. And it has to be a place where people are willing to say, I don't know the answer to that question, but it's a fascinating question to ask. It's a really good question. Let's consider what the possible answers might be. And so we do that. In worship, I often ask questions, and they are rarely rhetorical. They're meant to be serious questions for people to consider. And sometimes people answer them out loud, and sometimes they answer them in their own hearts, and sometimes they discuss them later with friends or family and come up with answers that I never considered. I think questions are deeply faithful. The other thing that makes us kind of a special place is the role of arts in our community. Those show up in the way that we invite people to share their own gifts, whatever it is that might be, whatever instrument they play, however they might create. And so we have lots of different people within our congregation who are willing and able to lead worship. We have folks who contribute their sewing and their art installation and their ceramic arts, their dance, their instrumental music, as well as other kinds of gifts, like the person whose gift is running the dishwasher, the person who loves folding bulletins or counting numbers. We have the folks who offer all sorts of gifts of hospitality and welcome and are willing to sit and listen or pray or show up and lead and help out. This is a place, Open Glen is a place where we want everyone to share their gifts, their insights, their questions, their considerations, so that we might all grow together. So this is the space where we usually meet for worship, although not always. And in many ways it is a typical sort of sanctuary. But the idea of taking church online is an important stretch for us, because we know that people spend lots of time online and that that's their new third space. It's not home and it's not work, it's this other space. Whether those are church folks or non-church folks, lots of us are online. The churches we know that have online ministries are doing it in one of two ways. Either they're recording what happens in the sanctuary and then broadcasting it for people to watch at a later time, and it's one-way communication, broadcast, people passively receive it. Or there are spaces online which have created interactive space where people can actually engage one another, usually through typed messages like in Facebook, sometimes in like a Google Hangout window, sometimes they're more interactive. Our goal, our dream, is to have a space which is online and interactive in real time for at least a window, so that anyone who logs in can listen, can ask a question, can respond, can engage with other people across the country, across the world, wherever it is they've come from, into this space. But we don't want people just to come and stay there. Lots of websites do. They want to be the cul-de-sac where you end up and spend all your time. Open Glen is named for the open space in Scottish tradition and Scottish language where people gather to rest, to renew, to refresh, to have some conversation before they move on to whatever is next on their journey, whatever is next in their life. So Open Glen is designed to be an open space, a green space, a communal space where people can gather and rest for a few moments before they continue on. So we hope that people will take what questions, what reflections happen in the live space, in real-time space, and then go back to their own communities and re-engage there, those same questions, those same wonderings, and discover renewed relationships. So openglen.com may be for church folks for whom worship schedules don't work, or for folks who just want a little something extra. Maybe it's for folks who consider themselves spiritual but not religious, and this is a way and place to connect and to share and to deepen the connections they have elsewhere. It's also for anyone who is looking for a space of community, a space that's safe, a space for affirmation, a space for consideration, a space to engage divine grace for a moment before we continue on our journeys. We're glad that you're here. We're looking forward to your interaction with us. We're looking forward to learning and growing before we continue on our journeys. Welcome to openglen.com. Blessings. Open Glen was originally the vision of Aaron Walrich, who just happens to have a recording studio here in Shawano and is willing to share it with us, complete with green screen and such. So we're going to give you a little tour of what the space looks like. We've been working since summer to figure out how to put all these pieces together, and Aaron has put in tremendous amounts of time and energy and creativity to put together an actual studio where we can do all of our recording. This is where we do the live sections of Open Glen, even though we do some of the pre-recorded sections elsewhere, like interviews or the music videos. Those are done elsewhere. But when we go live at openglen.com, this is where I am, complete with the green screen backdrop and producers in the space who are helping make the show happen. So this is our green screen and recording space where Open Glen goes live, and we have all the equipment set up here, computers and cameras and audio, and also all the accoutrements that go behind putting this together. And we have 3 different folks who have been in the room doing production while we're recording them and broadcasting, so that we can take this experience live online, where we're hoping to hear from people around the country and around the world and have in real-time conversation.